Welcome to our Senior Flick segment, Tales from the Past with Jim and Elsa Breadner. They are a wonderful couple who reside here at Shepherd Village. So let's hear some stories from their past. Welcome, Jim and Elsa. Thank you so much for being here. I understand you've been married for 61 years. How did you two meet?
Well, we both come from a small town in Parry Sound, Northern Ontario, and we went to high school together, and so we were always involved in activities there and in the Interschool Christian Fellowship. We also went to the same church together, and so we were part of the youth group, and then as we got older, we taught Sunday school and Vacation Bible School. And while we were in the youth group in high school, we were at many events we were together, but it was a group of us, and we had many exciting events in the youth group: tobogganing, ice skating, campfires, many things. One thing I remember about one of the events was the tobogganing, and it was a large hill that was near where we lived, and we had a great huge bonfire at the bottom of the hill. Not sure why, but we did. And as somebody decided to stoke up the fire and make it really large, just as the toboggan was coming down. And so the person had to fall off the toboggan. The person happened to be Jim's sister. And she was okay, but she was in crutches for a while. So we had many interesting events together during our high school years. Then after high school, we came to Toronto to go to Teachers College. And Jim was, I think, teaching already, and I was in Teachers College when we really started to date each other. And we dated for 2 or 3 years. I think we were 17 or 18 when we started teaching. We dated for 2 or 3 years, and then finally set the wedding date for December 24th, 1960. And we were so thankful to our friends and family that they came that night because it was Christmas Eve and it was a very snowy night.
That sounds really fun. Okay, and then Jim, take us back in time. What was the wedding day like?
Well, it was a beautiful day in a beautiful old church, and where we had attended as children, young people with our own families, and the church was beautifully decorated with Christmas trees. There's lots of Christmas trees out in the bush, and they were brought into the church and decorated. And they also had lots and lots of
Poinsettias?
Poinsettia plants, yes, the beautiful red ones. And so on the evening before, we had a rehearsal and we practiced everything. The pastor that led us in the marriage ceremony was a good preacher. He was an evangelist, and he'd come from Ireland to Parry Sound to be the pastor of this Presbyterian church. And so the rehearsal went well, and the next morning it was time to go to the church, but I went early because I wanted to set up a tape recorder so that I could record. It was an audio tape recorder, so that I could record the wedding and the vows and the soloists and the pastor preaching. And so I went early, more than an hour early, and I took my tape recorder and I went up to the front of the church and I put the tape recorder underneath a chair, behind a chair and underneath the chair. And I got the wires hooked up for the microphone and for the plug-in. And finally I got it all set, and I had to get home to change. But as I was going down the aisle to the back of the church, I noticed my grandmother was already sitting there. Well, she was an elderly person, and she always went way, way earlier than she needed to. But as I was going by her, she got up and came over and said, "Oh, it's so wonderful to see a young man coming to church and getting down and praying for your wedding beforehand. I think that's just so wonderful." So I smiled at her and gave her a kiss on the cheek and said, "See you later." But she was well-intentioned. and so was I. When the rest of I went home and I got dressed and we came back and the men came in and stood at the front of the church. I had 4 men standing up with me, and then the pastor came in, and then Elsa came in with her 4 attendants of hers, and we all lined up across the front of the church, and it all went very well. Beautiful music, and the vows and the signing in the register, everything went fine. And so it was time to go for the reception. The reception was held in the basement of the church. And the ladies' guild, the ladies that do the cooking and organizing in the church for food, they had made us a wonderful turkey dinner. And it had stuffing, and it had mashed potatoes with gravy and pies, and it was lovely. But they had put one proviso when they were making arrangements with Elsa about that dinner, and that was that they could not stay to clean up and do the dishes because they have to get home. They have a family, and they're getting ready for Christmas in their home. So we asked quite a few of the people who came to the service to stay on and do dishes by hand, no dishwasher. And so they did, and it was good. And then it was time, we were finished, and we went back and out the front door of the church and down the stairs, and as we did, there were all these beautiful, large, fluffy snowflakes falling all around us. It was beautiful.
That sounds absolutely beautiful. The food sounds like it was really delicious. And I'm sure after that good meal, I feel like people wouldn't even mind to stay to help clean up. Yeah, I understand you have some photos from your wedding?
This is signing the register in the church office after the ceremony.
Wow. You both look absolutely stunning in that photo.
This black and white picture shows how old it is because my cousin who is taking the pictures said he didn't want to take any color pictures because they're so much more expensive at that time. It was unusual to have a color photo that big. So he took all the pictures of our wedding in black and white.